XRP has gotta be one of the most controversial cryptocurrencies out there, with many people loving it and very many people absolutely hating it. But I still think many people don't understand the XRP investment thesis, why we go for the crypto, why I'm personally still holding, and why many others are holding this one through. And on the opposite side, I think many people are forgetting what exactly we're in it for and what we're expecting to make sure we're all on the same level. One of the things I'm referring to is the fact that every single thing you see about XRP in the recent past here is mostly really about the lawsuit or whatever is happening on a regulatory field. And I mean, for Ripple, it's extremely important. They're ongoing right now with one of the most important crypto lawsuits out there, so it's understandable. But since XRP's status was already determined, for XRP itself, it's not that relevant, unless you're considering also the part that Ripple might sell of XRP to pay for all the damages. At that point, it becomes slightly more interesting, but ultimately still not that much, because even then, the sell pressure would not be too significant for such a big cryptocurrency. Nevertheless, I had a poll recently. I asked people, hey, what exactly are you focused on right now when it comes to XRP? Almost nobody said tech. Almost nobody said the partnerships that are ongoing or building up. Nobody said the Ripple stablecoin, new things being built. Almost every single person said for this lawsuit to be over. And even XRP Crypto Wolf here said, is the XRP case almost over? Because it's just been going and going and going and going. But at the meantime, and the same time, everybody's talking about the lawsuit. Nobody's talking about tech really quite recently. And I wouldn't say that's a problem because, again, it's just people prioritizing what they find important with their investment, with their crypto. But the way I personally see it, people have become more short-sighted and they've lost some of the vision that they once had. To elaborate, back in 2017, the majority of people out there holding were partially perhaps holding for the great change in the financial system, but the majority of people were buying then because of Coinbase listings, which is why it dumped on January 5th, 2018, because Coinbase denied they were going to list XRP, and hype, excitement, and, well, it was one of the biggest cryptocurrencies already, and it was doing good, had a good community, it was in every angle in a good spot. In 2021, in that cycle, in my own humble opinion, it did do pretty well, going from, I think, let's think about this. I think maybe like 17 cents in March 2020. I'm not sure if it's 17 cents or 11 or 20, but I think let's say 17 cents to $2 or so in the span of a little over a year. It's definitely not bad for a bull run, specifically if we understand the lawsuit was ongoing. But then I kind of reflected onto this altcoin run where it's now been left behind for a long time. In 2021, we were focused on, okay, the lawsuit is there and there's excitement, more people are in it for the tech. But then the question comes, in 2024 here, what is going to bring the XRP run? Is it hype? Is it the tech? Is it the partnership? Well, logically, it's a combination of everything. But most importantly, is the S&P, this is my own honest opinion, ramping up, Bitcoin kind of topping out, altcoins going on a crazy run all over the place, not just one. And most likely, this is my own judgment, some altcoins will run first. And I don't think it will be XRP because it's always late. But eventually, XRP will be some of an overnight success. And the reason I'm making this video is to tell you guys that many people are like, oh, I'm so disappointed with the performance, this, that. And I see it in my comments every single day. And I understand. Because a lot of these asset classes that did extremely well back in 2017 or perhaps even the 2021 run have not popped off yet. Like AI, it popped off. I mean, I talked about AI coins, I think a year and a half ago. I made my first video about everybody should watch for AI coins. And then we had a couple of really early calls. Even when I look back at my top AI coins videos now, anybody that bought then is still in massive amounts of profit. Don't try to claim guru status here, not what I'm here for. Just saying that specific narrative absolutely popped off and it was easy to understand. RWAs, so real world asset type of cryptos, had a good run, which was again quite logical. The Bitcoin ecosystem had a good run for its money, even though it's not doing too well right now. But again, nowhere in all this are the traditional coins like a Cardano, like an XRP, like an XLM popping off. partially because almost all of them are busy with lawsuits. Even Ethereum is in a really big battle with the SEC. Then again, Ethereum did do pretty well, but also it hasn't beaten its all-time high. And again, if you start reflecting, Solana, Ethereum, all these top coins which have actually done really well, all have their own small issues, but also almost none of them have beat their all-time high. It's mostly either meme coins or newer, I should add, that have really gone past those levels. And ultimately, all I'm trying to say here is people are disappointed with the past performances, even though the main altcoin season is not here just quite yet. And I think many don't understand just how overnight these things happen. You can be chilling here today. I mean, prices were coming down. We were buying like crazy, right? As prices were coming down. As you guys might know from my Telegram, I had a pretty juicy buy-in at like 56,000 something. And I want you guys to understand there that theoretically speaking, all you got to do is just wait. You get a good crash like that in a couple of days. All of a sudden, you catch your way up. So you buy the dip with leverage and you can basically retire off of one move. Let me show you guys a little example. Here's, for example, one of the accounts I've not touched in many months. And as we look through, we can see right here, there's $1,300, which is achievable for the majority of people watching this video. Some not, I understand, but I'm trying to make it relative to the majority of people that are watching these videos at least. I know not everybody has $1,000 to trade, but most people watching this video have. And if you don't yet, you'll get there. Just give it some time. But it's to give an example. Even if you're doing this with $10, the principle still works. Anyway, so we put $1,500, right now it says $1,350, in this trade at 10x leverage a while back at, in hindsight, an extremely juicy price of $28,000 per Bitcoin. And as right now, the price is $64-ish thousand. I mean, if we looked at this trade, I think about a couple weeks back, this would have looked way juicier. I think it would have been more than $20,000 in the profit. But right now, it's $17,000 in the profit on a $1,500 trade. And yes, the fees are pretty significant. Right now, there's $2,000 in fees, and I think this would have been slightly more because I think I sold 10% of the position already to cover the fees a while back. It's to prove the principle of catch one dip, for example, and be persistent enough to wait or have the patience to be able to wait this out and see the crazy gains that happen afterwards. I don't know exactly when we bought this, and I don't think it's easy to see the history. It could have been any one of these weeks, but let's say, for example, it was right here, October of 2023. Right then, between October 2023 and right now, it's been what, 200 days? Perhaps we bought it earlier. Perhaps we bought it right here in June of 2023. I'd have to look back at exactly when we did our live stream, but that would be 330 days that we have been waiting on this for. And that's basically for the Bitcoin run, for the crypto bull market to pick itself back up. That is for what you need: patience, the longer term trades, the bigger money flips. Ultimately, though, you have to understand that if we looked at this trade on shorter time frames, it might have been really bad. Let's say we open the trade, somewhere right there. It looks a little bit annoying, but right there. It might have been at a loss for the first couple of weeks, or we open it right there, would have looked good for a little bit, and then would have looked at a loss for 7 weeks or whatever in a row. And then things changed overnight. Well, not really, because it took some weeks to get in there, but it looks as if it changed overnight, and all of a sudden it never came back to our liquidation price, and we were basically safe to hold this open forever. I think with XRP and a couple of other altcoins in that ballpark, it's going to be pretty similar, where right now is just kind of annoying, kind of boring, kind of nothing going on. And all of a sudden things change extremely quickly, extremely severely, and many people will be left behind. Now, the question is, should you wait for it? Should you wait for the overnight success? Because once more, the run, it takes some time, but for altcoins to pop off, it's basically a waiting point until, let's quickly show it again. This point right here, where things just keep popping off and keep going crazier for weeks on weeks without end. And now, one of the main reasons I'm still holding is because I understand the thesis that you have to wait and all of a sudden things will just pop the moment you kind of least expect it. But on the opposite side, I also know replacement costs, where if you sell this asset now, what better asset can you buy with it? And that's the only thing that should be on your mind. In my own opinion, I'm not your financial advisor, but we've been in here for a long time. And I'll tell you this, most altcoins that you don't think will pop off will still pop off. It's only a question of, are you in the right asset class? Are you thinking of the right parameters, basically? Is the hype going to be there? But predicting which ones would do best over a multi-month time span is nearly impossible. All we can do is guess sectors that have a high likelihood of doing well. But specific altcoins, oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is the most difficult thing out there when it comes to non-hype. So we're talking about fundamentals, undervalued coins where people have to look at the project, think this is going to be where longevity is at. This is going to be here for the next decade, not just one bull run, but the next 10, 20 years, which is again also where people sometimes differ in opinion. I personally think you're investing for the longer term because cash is kind of stupid, so you're building yourself good portfolios that will last you throughout the next couple of decades. Many people just want a quick rise though, want to cash it out to dollars or whatever currency they're at and buy some other things with it. Different opinions, but I understand everybody. I personally think just understand that if you've not seen the gains you were hoping for, don't be discouraged because the majority of people in crypto right now, even though they've made crazy gains over the past couple of months, let's say 3 months, 6 months, many of them are still actually not at all-time highs, even though these are extremely experienced traders, as many altcoins are still not at their all-time high. And I think the majority of crypto people build their portfolios with majority altcoins. But if we look a few months into the future, it will look as if things happen all overnight because it kind of happens. It's just a shift all of a sudden where things just keep on going and going and going, similar to how this happened over here. But ultimately, it's many, many months or many, many years of waiting. And I referred to it back here in 2019, for example. People didn't think that Bitcoin would pop back off again or pop off again. But it did. Again, now we know the history. And similarly for XRP, looking at it now, it's just a freaking waiting game and it's so annoying. But we all know at some point, this bubble, basically this closed off bubble, has got to burst with probably a crazy breakout. And I know many will call me crazy for making this video again, being bullish on XRP. But hey, I'm just being real with you. This is what I think makes the majority of the sense. That doesn't mean I'm buying more XRP. I've already got enough. And I think even though it will do well, there are so many other opportunities it's worth diversifying into. But on the question of when or how would it look like, I think it will be very, very sudden. And it will be kind of like all of a sudden, just gains after gains after gains. Probably the way I expect it to happen is slow best gainers first. So this means after most altcoins have already gone for a pretty significant pump, XRP usually is a little bit behind, which means, again, that you can probably buy some other altcoins first and then switch over if you still want to. But you could even skip sometimes altogether, depending, of course, on what you're diversifying into. A lot of altcoins are starting to run first, which we've kind of seen in the near past here. So right now could be a time for XRP. But let's say even some of the other big altcoins like an XLM, like a VeChain, some of the old runners, right? Again, I'm not saying you should buy these now. I'm just saying if you have them, what is my thoughts on them already? I should say still rather. Basically, top gainers first, where you see, let's say the average altcoin gain is 7%. It's going to be 12 or so % per day, which builds up after a few days. And all of a sudden is going to be higher numbers, which is kicked off though. So started with probably a plus 30, 40% day. And if I remember correctly, back in peak altcoin season, it was many days in a row of just 30 or 40% gains. And if we look back at the charts, indeed, going from whatever this is at, let's say 17 cents or whatever. I think this was 17 cents. Let's say it's 25 cents here or whatever to $2. This is in a span of indeed just a few weeks. I know to some people this might look like a very long amount of time, but this moves so quickly. But especially if you look back at the 2017 run, just how quickly things went to go from whatever, let's say 20 cents to $3 or $4 or so in a couple months. It means you got to really, really gain by big percentages every single day. And as you take a look at this chart, it kind of happened overnight, which is crazy massive gains. And here again, in my opinion, this final straw here is kind of what I just described, where when you look back at the history, you're like, oh, this is just a little gain section is going to break again. Whereas even though if you bought right there, was holding right there, you would have made crazy gains in this little time span. But all of a sudden, these gains just don't stop and just keeps going from, let's say, 40 cents or whatever to just $2.50 or $2, which is some massive multiplier in just a few weeks. And I think at some point, this has been building up for so many years. It's going to pop. It's going to be crazy. But the question is, will you have the patience for it? I've been holding for so long that I don't care at this point. I'm just holding on. If you're selling, let me know down below what you're selling it for, what you're going for next. But also, let me remind you, it's a multi-year plan. I'm not sponsored by Ripple. I don't care if you buy or sell. I'm just telling you guys my story, my thoughts. Matter of fact, I've told you guys many times that a lot of the things Ripple does are kind of dumb. But ultimately, I do think XRP still has a pretty good value proposition. Again, I'm not biased here at all. It literally doesn't matter to me if you buy or sell. Just giving you my opinion, my honest opinion at that. And as I said before, making videos about XRP, people hate me if I am positive. People hate me if I'm negative. So I'm just honest. And that's about it.